Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2, and I'm back again with another movie review. I just recently watched The Drop, which was James Gandolfini's last film. He wasn't credited for it like he was with Enough Said, which is one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time. I'm very picky about romantic comedies, but we're talking about a movie that's a drama and very much akin to um, The Departed, just because of the environment and how seedy it is and how uncomfortable and cringeworthy many of the scenes can be. A lot of things happen very subtly and off screen, and in your mind's eye you can picture exactly what's going on. But there are actually a lot of redeemable activities that the characters do, despite the fact that they're doing things that are illegal. Of course, James Gandolfini does not play a major role here. He plays the cousin of the main character who, interestingly enough, is one of the quiet, unassuming types that you all have to watch out for, because you never know what kind of hideous past they could be hiding. And that's the whole moral to take from the movie in and of itself, I think. Other than even though somebody might have a past like that, they have redeemable qualities and have the ability to be kind, to have a heart of gold, basically, because Rob in the movie itself, he takes care of a puppy that he finds in Nadia's trash, and Nadia happens to be the ex-girlfriend of Eric, who is this drug addict, and he's involved with this huge plot that's going on with drop sites, and there's quite a bit involved here. I mean, it's very multi-layered, and it's very meticulously interwoven, and we already know from the beginning that Rob isn't what he seems, and he doesn't strike us as the type of character that could be that naive or easily misled or gullible. And when he lets Eric inside of his house, I think, why would you do that? Don't you know that he's after something, and it's not just his dog, or formerly what used to be his dog, and he threatens him, and it's just very uncomfortable to watch. I mean, it's a good film. It's really wonderful, and I absolutely loved it. I just thought it was spectacular. I think this is one of the best movies I've seen in a good long time. It's on par with The Departed, and it reminded me quite a bit of The Departed, just because of the whole who can you trust kind of plot line and machine. And everything segues very well from one scene to another, and it doesn't bore or seem mundane at all. I mean, there are a lot of everyday scenarios that are very common to all of us as human beings, and a lot of us can relate to that. It's just there's so much humanity in it. It's a slice of life, and it takes place in a very tough area, which would be Brooklyn. And it seems like there are not very many things amicable things to be taken away, because people kind of watch out for themselves, and it shows a different side of that. It shows that there are still things about human beings that are laudable, which I like. I especially like the ending. I had a feeling this, like my friend, when he was watching it with me, that everybody would die. No, there's a happy ending. I'm not going to say what it is, but there are a lot of grisly things that occur, and since I'm such a fan of the underworld and crime and syndicates like that and the mafia, I don't know why, but I'm absolutely fascinated by stuff like that. I wrote a story, and I mentioned before that I had a past life as a mob boss, so that's probably why. I mean, nowadays it's just I'm not even into things like that. I just can't consider living a life that would be even on par with that. No. Uh, that money, I want to earn my money in a reputable way, one that I can be proud of, one that I don't have to hide and kind of skulk and say, well, you really don't want to, kind of cover up everything with a backstory that anybody would believe. And no, it's nothing like that. The present is the present moment, past is past, and I remember it in dreams, but it's not who I am. That was who I was. But anyway, I got a friend who's writing a story. He wants me to help him, and it was all very similar to this story here, and it's actually kind of better than The Drop. I don't know what to call it. I'm not going to call it The Drop because this is a name that's already been taken. But he doesn't know what to call it yet. It's very multifaceted story, and interestingly enough, he's from Brooklyn. Coincidence? I think not, but when you're closer to what actually happens in the real world and you can see it with your own eyes or not see it or just hear about it, it's I think it's all the more intriguing, and it really is a very good expose on how people interact or fail to interact or trying to cast aspersions on each other or judgment. And yeah, I just like to see the whole psychology of it. It's just absolutely tremendous. It's absolutely transfixing. It's just something that you want to see, what you want to know what happens next, even though you think, oh my God, something horrible is going to happen. But no, it's just that kind of macabre curiosity that keeps you wanting more. And the ending was really satisfactory. I thought it was absolutely tremendous. Another thing I really love about this movie are the camera angles, and it was very reminiscent of Ocean's 13 and how they did allegorical, metaphorical shots and really setting the mood. And I really love the side view mirror shots with Marv and Cousin Marv as played by James Gandolfini, and just absolutely incredible. Very, very innovative, very creative shots that were taken, especially with when the drops were being made. The dirty money, the laundered money, and nobody else knows what that was really going on except for the people that knew and were in charge of the drop sites in and of themselves. Yeah, it's really very, very it's very straightforward in the way that it tells its tale, yet some instances are more subtle, and I just love the way that everything's done, and the kind of Hitchcockian score, the distonal, disharmonious discord within the tonality of the background music is very intriguing. It's atonal. I mean, it's just like until the very end, and it's more kind of peaceful and harmonious, and everything makes sense and comes to normalcy. Well, I don't know if normalcy, but some kind of climax where everything is coming together and things are actually resolving themselves and becoming better. And then you see that, and it's just, there's so much truth in that, because along life's road we come along some bumpy paths, and you never know what'll happen. But when you have friends in your life, and Rob, he just seemed kind of like a loner type, but he starts to change. I think he starts to undergo this transformation. And he's not really a bad guy. He does some things that are not very reputable, but he has his reasons. And I mean, I know I shouldn't be playing devil's advocate, but it just kind of makes you understand the mentality of that kind of person. And that's why I'm so intrigued by things like this. But as far as movies are concerned, I give The Drop deserves the highest accolades. It is a marvelous film. It is absolutely incredible. James Gandolfini, he delivers, and a lot of the humor that he has is very laconic, and he he's very sarcastic and biting and, you know, snide, and a lot of the humor comes across as gallows humor, but I really like that kind of thing. And it's not supposed to be funny, but it's funny in the way that's delivered, and that's comedy is very difficult, even a drama like this one. It's very well written. It's very very witty, very quick, and it's this very intriguing slice of life kind of movie, and it makes you think about what really happens in a situation like that. You think, well, what goes on that we don't know about, and should we really be curious about such things? I don't know. Should we care? But it's just that the sort of thing that you think, well, this sort of thing happens all the time. We just don't hear about it. It's just not something that comes out into the open that much. It's kind of like, I know a little bit about this because I have friends that tell me, and it's kind of like Russia's black market, and cartels, and if you go to Amsterdam, and I had a friend who, and I don't know if she's out there. Hi Anna, if you're out there, hello. Where are you? I need to talk to you. But she's not that far from the red light district, and who, Lordy Almighty, if you could just hear the stories I know, it's not all about this. There's another side. There's always, two sides of the coin, which is interesting. This is a dichotomy, and it shows that nature of human beings, the evil and the good, and there really is no clear-cut definition between the two. And it's interesting enough that I just, I hate to admit to this, but a friend of mine and myself, I talked to him. He's like, "Oh, there was an update about Christian." And I'm like, "Ooh, really?" I watched the documentary that was done, and it was absolutely sensational. I should have written, a comment about it because it was, really stupendously and astronomically done. I mean, I know he put a lot of time and effort into it, and it can be seen very clearly. I feel like I feel sorry for Chris, but I just think that his parents failed him, unfortunately. I don't cast any aspersions on him. I don't cast any judgment upon him, because a lot of children have gone through that, and of course mental illness too. Also, it's the same kind of deal, but it's there's so many gray areas in that field, and honestly, people aren't treated like they should be treated, because the companies aren't out to help the patient. They're to alleviate just the symptoms rather than the root cause, and that's the problem with Western medicine. They don't treat the root cause like they should. Sorry, I just had to get on my pedestal there, but that's one thing with Christian too. I think that if he had been given help at an early age, and just I hate to say that he should have been protected from the internet, because there are a lot of people out, and I know this myself because I went through it as well. God only knows, and thank God I didn't turn out to be some kind of woman child. But anyway, there are just there are a lot of people out there, and I'm not one of them. What you see is what you get. But there are a lot of people out there, and they're out there to make everybody else miserable, and they're just out there to be mean and hateful and spiteful, and I don't know. It's just people like that I don't really have very high regard for, and I think a lot of them drove Christian to do what he did. But it's like I said, I can't really. The documentary was done in such a way that I just thought was really very, very well done, and kudos to the person who did it. I'm going to be watching more of your documentaries on him. It's just I don't know why, but he just, for some strange reason, he fascinates me. And it's just one of those things that this is what somebody can become if the right steps aren't taken and action isn't invoked. And it's just, it's just a tragic story all around. It's interesting to see that despite that, it's like Andy Warhol says, you know, the 15. Actually, he got more than 15 seconds of fame. He's gotten quite a bit more due to failure alone. And you know, I told my dad, and it's a horrible analogy, but you would think that sucking is a bad thing, but for a vacuum, sucking is a great thing, and it actually it's your main existence to suck. Amongst other things, if you're thinking in the wrong way and letting your mind go down that gutter. But anyway, in that respect, sucking is a good thing. But it's interesting to see what society labels as good, bad, right, wrong. I myself, I can't really. It's difficult for me because ethics are just so personal to each and every person individually, that it's very challenging to make a decision based on that. I'm glad he presented it in a very educational way, and I learned quite a bit because, you know, I got a friend with Asperger's, and I understand what Asperger's. I had a friend with autism, and I didn't know that until he told me. Like, really? Seriously? Huh? It's, you know, I didn't think anything of it. I think, no wonder we get along so well. I'm not autistic, but you know, I actually had a friend who thought I was, and for his edification, I took a quiz. Like, I am not autistic. Why do you think I am? I don't understand. I mean, I love people. I can get along really well with the outside world, and I'm very social. But I also like to be alone. It's a good kind of in between. I'm an extrovert and an introvert, and right in the middle of the two. I'm not extreme either way, but I love to be in the middle of both of those attributes. But I just thought that was funny. I get along really well with people that are so-called disabled, disabibbled, disobibbled. That'll be my word, disabibbled. Disabubbled. But disabubbled people, I call them handicapable. I know a lot of them don't like that. I'm going to use it anyway, handicapable. I have a lot of friends that are handicapable. And interestingly enough, we get along just fine. I mean, some of my best friends are deaf. But actually my best coworker friend was deaf. He was awesome. But I've got a good friend who has Asperger's. Like I said, I've mentioned her before. She's incredible. She's got eidetic memory, and I wish I did. I don't know. This is a Christian guy. Like I said, I'm gonna have to learn a little bit more. I'm curious. I don't know why. I want to know more about that, and you know, I'm very intrigued by it. There was a comment, and I thought, you know, God bless whoever said this, that I want to help him. I'm like, yeah, I do too, but you know, I'm not a professional. He's had professional help in the past, but you can always make yourself better, and he just doesn't seem like he wants to. But you can't really force somebody to get better. You can't give them a pill. Pills don't really, you know, the efficacy of pills. It could be a placebo. I don't know. It's such a difficult. It's a very difficult thing. But I know I kind of got into a rant about Christian, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about it because I just thought it was really interesting and educational and informative, and the guy who did it, just bravo. I'm watching more of your videos, but this movie is kind of similar to that in that, you know, people doing bad things and getting away with them, and in a different way. And I mean, not on, you know, epic. It is epic kind of stage. and the repercussions and the consequences, and just the whole idea of trust and how psychology works, and how men react to each other and women, and abuse, and it's such an interesting, and there's a lot of that in Christian too, the whole idea of the whole abuse thing. That really, I don't know how I feel about that. I just, that shouldn't have happened. I'm sorry. That just, no. I don't know what else to say about that other than, I found it really intriguing. But beyond that, like I said, I see the facts like he does. I see the facts, and I don't try to cast judgment one way or another, because it's not up to me. I'm not God. I just people like that, I hope they get the help that they deserve, and I think that, and I know this sounds like a very simple solution to a very complicated problem, but I think that, and I did this in Justice Wears a Mustache, but and my solution in Justice Wears a Mustache is that the criminals were given, well, they were jewelry thieves. They were given community service, and they were taught skills, how to actually work, how to present a resume, how to dress as a resume, how to speak properly, and how to use etiquette and be polite, and etc., etc., and just how to become model citizens. And they don't know, they're just not in that kind of environment to learn such a thing. And many of them might be. It depends on the person. We're all different. So it just, one person may respond entirely differently to something like that than my main character did. My main character, he became a mechanic after he had been in the Reformation program. He actually said to the judge's son, who was the police officer who actually arrested him, right, during before the second robbery took place, that he said, "You saved my life, and I want you to be my best man at my wedding." And he wasn't expecting that, but it's just story. I think that this can happen in everyday life, and I think that if more criminals were given what I call the human touch, the interaction that they never receive, and a lot of them don't. Like, they come from foster homes, and it's just sad. And Chris, I just think, was a case of being an overly protected, spoiled brat. And I'm a brat too, but I'm not to that point. I'm nowhere near. Now, I can relate to a lot of things that I've thought, oh my God, no. Why would you? I don't get it. I think that he had some kind of underlying issue. You can't really blame it on Asperger's, because that just doesn't seem to fit. But because I know people with Asperger's. I'm sorry. I know I'm on a soapbox here, but that's how I feel about it. That's all I have to say about the drop and Christian updates, and that's it. Until next time, everybody. Live long, prosper. Ciao, Tootsie.